My name is Jesse Davis, host of the Penthouse Podcast, where I interview a lot of my longtime friends, some of the members of my club, and some of Wilmington's finest people. I am so excited to do this show, and I hope you will tune in. Thank you. I am so excited.
This is
Are you
good.
excited or what?
I finally have Christina
make
Mathena
sure.
on my podcast.
Make sure my phone is turned on.
The
There you
sexy,
go.
beautiful,
You do
wonderful.
look great.
Thanks. Hi, how are you?
So I don't
I'm
know. Have y'all
good.
ever met each other before?
No.
So Monica, Christina, Monica.
Pleasure.
I thought this would be a wonderful little dynamic for the three of us.
You
to
were
do
the
this.
first non-sweaty woman to come up those steps. Jesse thought I was gonna wring his neck earlier when.
She called me at 4 o'clock. Was like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "I'm in bed." Oh shit! And I'm like, calling Zach. I'm
my
like,
God.
"Okay, all right. Let's get going." Anyway,
Times changed, but it's fine.
sit down, Bubba.
You look nice.
Thank you. As well as you ladies. Look at these beautiful ladies I'm surrounded by. I mean,
It works.
what else do you want? So all right. So a lot of things have been going on with you.
Yeah.
I want to first of all, I want to hear about your love life. This man looks, she lights up like a firework
Aw,
when she
very
talks about it.
sweet.
I had the pleasure of meeting him.
What's his
He was a
name?
good tipper, I have to say. So tell us about this new
Yeah,
love
this
life.
new guy, Dave. Yes.
California.
Oh, very
He's
good.
from California, and I always knew that like my guy was not in Wilmington. I just like had
I feel the
this
same way.
Fair.
Yeah. And so we have a beautiful love story of like how we met, and
Tell us about it.
oh my gosh. Okay. So we met in the fall of 23, and my best friend's a photographer. So she was at a financial investor conference, and she was like, "Will you come with me? I just need help. Like, I'll pay you. I'll pay your way."
Kismet.
Yeah. And I was like, and she's like, "Who knows? You might meet your dream man." And I'm like, I don't really care about that. I was in school getting my master's at the time, so I was
Damn,
like,
girl.
Masters
Fine.
in what? I have to know this.
yeah, medical cannabis
Go.
and cannabis science and cannabis business.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Which we will go into that, but finish your love
Yes.
story.
Yeah, and so anyway, I was like, okay, like you had me at Phoenix, and I'll be there. So, first night they have a welcome cocktail party. She's like, I gotta work, girl. You're on your own. So I'm just like, okay, I got this. I don't know a single soul.
Isn't that fun though?
It is fun,
It
like,
is,
and I can
yes.
talk to anybody. So I'm just talking, and he comes over to me. I don't really like remember him much then, other than like I knew we met and we hung out that night, but I don't remember like. He saw me from across the room, he said, and he made a beeline.
These guys.
How could you not?
I mean, yeah.
I know.
Clearly.
Stunning.
And so, anyway, we ended up, spending time together, but he had a ring.
On his finger?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Problems.
so I was just like, we're all hanging out in a group setting.
Sure.
Put it in your pocket.
And then the next night, he wanted to ask me to dinner, and I was like, that sounds like a date.
Go, girl.
Yeah,
I don't
love
date
that.
married men.
Good
no,
for you.
No,
I
no.
was like, if you want to invite everybody to
Yep.
dinner, I'll
Yep.
go. but I'm
Red
not going
flag.
by myself.
Yes. Yeah.
So he invited everybody to dinner, and then he sat next to me. So I was like,
How
what's the deal?
convenient.
That's fair.
yeah, like, what's the deal? Because I'm not interested.
Yeah, no.
And I made it clear, like, I would never disrespect another woman, nor allow him to disrespect another woman. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
You know
figure
what?
your shit out,
Yep.
and then call me when you're single.
And then that's what happened.
Yes.
Yeah. It was actually a year ago. Like,
So they
year
walked
ago.
in here. She's like, I want you to meet my new boyfriend. He's really sweet, whatever. And he's visiting, and y'all are traveling quite a bit too.
Mm-hmm.
And she just looked different. You just looked genuinely
Vibrant.
happy.
Vibrant.
I could tell something had switched, and you were just happy. And
So how long was he married prior?
25
Oh,
years.
hell.
See, so I think, and I don't know Dave, but it's like, I think when people get married younger, like the change that happens
so
in
many
them,
things throughout your life
and
change. at
I
that age.
guarantee that man was like, I'm going to date that woman across the room. Like in his mind, I think he probably saw that, which meant the marriage was already over at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what we
But
talked about.
to
and
your
so I was
point,
just like,
yeah.
hey, like, if you aren't happy, do something about it.
Because you had split with your husband a couple years ago.
Yeah. Actually, I had just filed for divorce
Oh, wow.
officially when
I know we're
went on
getting
that
deep
trip.
here, everybody,
No, I
but
think
whatever.
it's great.
No,
It
we
speaks
should
to
talk about
your
this stuff.
strength. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what led me to write my book. About
Oh,
divorce.
gosh. Yes.
Yeah,
so
so
pass it around. Let's take a
yeah.
look.
Oh my gosh, you wrote a book.
I
How cool are
did.
you?
And actually,
thing.
so the funny thing is,
Wow.
when Dave and I
The
started
high road of
talking,
divorce.
My sister needs this.
I didn't think that I could be with someone. So I refused to date him actually when we first started
Yeah.
talking because I was just like, no, I want to be single. Like I'm writing this book and I don't want to see anybody. So I was just like, I can't do this and date someone because I have to give
Because
this.
you're giving this your energy. Yeah.
And he was like, okay.
Inspiring and compassionate. That is you in 2 words.
So what made you, like, you woke up one day and were like, I've written a lot of thoughts down, or you were like, oh, my thoughts are in my head, I'm going to do this?
So I had been struggling with my divorce, and that no one prepares you for divorce.
She has children, really
No.
cute.
Oh,
Yeah, I have
okay.
3 kids. Yeah, and no one like prepares you or anyone, right? And it was
Can
never.
you believe 3 kids have come out of this body?
You look amazing.
Thank you. I never got married with the intention of getting divorced. So getting divorced.
Hopefully people don't. you
Yeah,
know.
I mean, it was like I tried really, really hard not to, and it was
He
ultimately.
was sweet. I remember him early years ago. We've been friends for a long time now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were there through all of it.
Yeah.
And again, like I think he is a wonderful person.
People grow apart,
Yeah.
and that's okay. You know, things run their course. I think that's natural. And to admit it and be like, okay, amicably, I think you both had it pretty, for most people's divorces can get pretty nasty. But y'all's was pretty like, you know, like, okay, it's done. We've done our thing.
She's like, once I figured out how this divorce thing worked, because you're right, no one coaches you on how that's, I mean, you can't actually figure it out until you're in it.
America's
So what happens in divorce is it triggers emotions
Yep.
in yourself and others and your partner, former partner, that you're not prepared to handle. And that's really what I wrote the book about, is like just to encourage
like
people.
guidelines of like, okay, coping.
Yeah, it's going to like trigger you in so many ways. And even as a woman, you know, I know why women go crazy and like,
Well, men
throw
probably
clothes on
do
the
the
lawn.
same.
Right, right, yeah.
Burn the
Burn
car.
it,
And
yeah.
yeah.
You saw that? What is that movie with Angela Bassett? The famous scene where she rips all of his shit out of the closet and she drags it down the hallway and she puts it all in the BMW and puts it in the driveway and sets it all on fire.
Yeah.
And she sits out there and has a cigarette. It's
I mean, yeah.
What was the name of that movie?
I have no idea, but
Whitney Houston. Dang it. Oh, anyway.
go ahead.
Bodyguard. But no, you know, and I just, through all of that, I was just like, you know what? I don't want to be angry and I don't want to get upset and I don't want to get triggered. I want to stay peaceful because that's the state I choose to live in. And so it was really hard. And I wrote that book.
I can't wait to read
process
this.
my
Is this for
emotions.
us? Can we give
Yeah,
this-
I brought you each
Oh,
a copy. And I'll
yay.
sign it to you.
Yes, please do.
I would
that.
love you to do that.
Yeah.
So let's get into something else. So you have the
Okay.
CBD. So you're very, very educated on CBD and all the transitions going from CBD to THC and the Delta 8, the Delta 9. I'm still sort of confused. I do, you know, love the edibles and I do love the flower and I'd admit that publicly. I mean, it's I don't do pain pills. I don't do a lot of medicine like that. I'm definitely holistic. I love smoking a good old joint. You know what I mean?
That's good, Jess.
And it keeps me out of trouble. But anyway, so no, tell us about that.
Yeah, so I had a CBD company and I brought you all some samples.
God, we have samples. We
Oh
have
my
more
gosh,
samples.
This is so great.
Yeah, well, one is for sleep because I know that's one
I
of
need
the
that
things
one.
Oh,
that
neat, yep.
people struggle with is sleep. And then this one is actually, so that one's 25 milligrams each capsule.
Of THC or CBD.
It's a CBD and THC,
Derived.
so it's below the 0.3%
Okay.
THC. And then this one is 15 milligrams, but it's got some multivitamins in it. So a lot of women choose this.
Okay, you take this one.
Switch.
I'll
We'll
take
swap.
that
You take this
one.
one multivitamin, lady.
And so it's a little bit less. So if you're a seasoned
I'm very
user
seasoned,
like
yes.
Jesse, he would probably like a 25 milligram.
Okay.
And that's kind of what I do now is using my degree to help people use it therapeutically.
Holistically, right?
Yeah, I call it therapeutically because, you know, some people use it recreationally, some
Yeah.
people use it medicinally, but really it's just a therapeutic that we use.
So I have to ask you, why with Delta 8 or 9 do people have very bizarre reactions to that?
Yes.
Okay. So
I have
it's
to know.
funny. I am a
Crazy one.
Me and this doctor started a web
Ambien.
series podcast called The Truth About the Plant, and we answer questions every week on our show.
So she does have a podcast, by the way. as
Oh,
well.
amazing.
Yeah, and so our question this past week, was actually that, and it was my idea because she lives in California. She just moved to Washington. It's legal.
Yep.
We live in North
Is it
Carolina.
recreational there?
It's both medical
Isn't
and
that wild? You
recreational.
just go to a store, like buy a beer and buy,
Yep.
just like buy a joint while you're at it.
Well, they only at dispensaries. It's still regulated. But here in North Carolina, we still don't even have medical.
Right.
And it's super
They're
frustrating.
just, you know what it is, Christina, is they're regular, just like, I mean, I have a liquor license, and they, we can only buy liquor from the LBD in the back of the ABC. It has to have a green sticker on it. That's how they regulate it, just like they're probably trying to do with marijuana in some sense.
Yeah. So fun fact, I lobbied at the state level on behalf of North Carolina veterans for 2 years in a row.
Very good.
And I met with legislators who were either no voters or maybes.
Or
Like they were on the
indecisive.
fence. Yeah. And so really just like sitting down with the legislators and like listening to their concerns and, maybe if I can help you understand anything, or if you have any questions I can help you with. And really it was very frustrating, I would say, because the logic isn't.
It's not there.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. And you're trying to make sense out of something that just doesn't make sense.
And so in the end, they said that it was like right-wing religious groups that were supporting these politicians, and they were just choosing, to
So then it becomes
to
political
not vote.
at that point.
Yeah, it's really what it comes down to in North Carolina is politically. They don't want to pass it because there's no other reason. And
Right.
unfortunately, our veterans in North Carolina are not able to have the same access as veterans in other states, and yet these veterans risk their lives the same as those other ones.
Exactly.
And if you hear their stories and you really listen, like they want to use cannabis and they want it regulated because they don't want to risk buying it on the black market or on the street.
Wouldn't you rather them be smoking or eating this stuff than drinking alcohol and
Yeah.
getting wasted and like ruining their liver? I think for the most part, like I know, I prefer like at home. It's like that's the way I can relax.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
I know it doesn't. For a lot of people, could disagree with that, but I mean, they say, oh, you could just just take a nap. I'm like, no, it's hard to shut off, and if I have something I can utilize, it's going to make me have a better sleep and wake up feeling just not hungover from whatever was the night before. I mean, I think, so what is the relationship with your company versus Green Compass? Like, what is going on with, like, is it the same situation? Like,
Well, I think Green Compass is more like multi-level
marketing. Yep.
Yeah, and they have different tiers and such.
Because I've interviewed them before, and
Yeah,
I love
and
Meredith. I've got a great relationship with her.
I think at the bottom line, like at the end of the day, are we doing it for the right reasons? And I do believe they're doing it for the
Yes,
right reasons,
absolutely.
and they
Yeah.
do care about people's
You
health.
see Michael,
and
like, she's really taken on this whole thing, and I think her whole backbone was because of her husband had, like, back pain or something? Neck
I'm
pain
not
or something.
sure.
But it really was something that he could take that was not opiates. And a lot of people, like, go to the pain medicine, and that's the doctors push pain pills, and then you see all these problems with opiates, and it leads to heroin and so forth and so on. Instead of, like, there's really, in marijuana and cannabis, it's all natural. I mean,
Well, that's why.
well, Delta 8 is not. We'll get.
That's
to
where.
oh, it's not.
please.
Okay, please fill me
No,
in.
because that's why I really want to. I really want you to answer this because I had a Rice Krispie treat. He'll tell you. I tell people I'm allergic to sugar. I'm allergic to carbs. All these things, but
So she
like
keeps this little
I was
body.
so hungry and. In the middle of the night, I like ate this Rice Krispie treat. I didn't realize it was Delta 8, and it was like 1,200 milligrams. I left the building literally for 2 days, fetal position. I tried everything like shock treatment in the shower, cold, hot, cold, hot. I
God.
tried to run. I tried to do all these things. I could not get that out because then it was like waves. And
It's like tripping.
So
Yes.
next time that happens, straight CBD will counteract.
thank you
gosh,
for that.
Good to know.
Yeah, that's
got that
like in
Krispy-
my Dr.
who
Weed
brought that
kit
Krispy
is
treat?
So bad.
CBD. And actually, recently there is a very well-known band that was in town, and I can't tell you.
Okay, we can beep it out. We can beep it
I'm
out.
gonna keep the. I'm gonna
Okay.
respect
Called
their
the-
privacy
the-
because it wasn't their fault.
Okay, okay.
Someone made them baked goods, and they had a basket of baked goods, and then they had a basket of infused baked goods. And one of the members of the band ate 2 muffins.
2
and
whole muffins.
2 whole muffins.
My
because
ex-boyfriend
they
calls
were
them
chocolate
space
muffins.
cookies.
They look good.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
And
Little
he
hungry.
was in a very bad place, and it was 10 minutes to call, and they were
Oh,
like, "We
shit.
need you right now." And I came, and I was like,
Oh, shit.
"Okay, how
Go,
much did
girl.
you eat?" And I didn't have my kit with me. I only had like 5 milligram CBDs, so I was just like, "Take 2 of these, coffee, orange
Did
juice."
it help?
Well, the cold shower, I think, saved the day. We were like, that was last resort. Like, you're getting in the cold shower.
I think it's what you
See, I
said.
tried.
He was able to play the show, but still high afterwards.
Yeah.
And
He
I
probably
just felt
blacked
so
out the
bad.
whole thing.
I mean, he's probably in the zone. He's just used
Yeah,
to doing it.
yep.
But I felt so bad for this man. He's older too, and it was just like, oh, it's so not cool. Like to just not label it or like give a warning and like you ate this Rice Krispie treat.
my
I'm
God.
sure it didn't say like warning.
No, and it
Warning,
scared
don't
me.
eat
Well,
too.
first of all, I drugged myself. I didn't even know like it was Delta 8. I was just like, what is this Rice Krispie treat doing here?
the hell?
But like also, then I got into my own headspace where I was like, I'm
You think
locked.
you're gonna die?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm locked out of the house, which I was on the porch. But yet again, I was trying everything I could. It's just crazy, like what these types of things do to the brain.
Mentally. Oh,
And
yeah.
I have pretty solid mental, thoughts about positivity. So for that to drag me down, I can't imagine.
Yeah,
But that
one
was-
of my
He's
good
about to go on
friends.
stage and perform in
Oh
front of
my
thousands of people.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was Delta 9. So I don't think it was Delta 8
Pump,
for him.
pump.
But
Gosh,
one of my good friends, she had a Delta 8 gummy and was sitting around the bonfire and drinking wine and hanging
That
out.
sounds fun.
Yeah, and she like stood up and like blacked out and almost fell into the fire. And like she was out. And her husband called 911 and they came. And she wakes up. They were trying to take her to the hospital. And she's like, no, I don't want to go to the hospital. But
Because you really, in your mind, when you've eaten too much, and the thing is like these little cookies, I could tell you 100 stories with friends of mine, but I'm not going to say her name because she'd kill me. But like, so we were in LA and we were at the, oh God, what's our beep? So we were at the SLS hotel and we were like, okay, they had never done the brownies before. And so we buy this, it's literally this big. It's the size of like just a normal, and me, her, and this other chick split it. And started munching a little bit more. And I was like, slow down. Like because it tastes like a yes. So it tastes like a muffin. And I'm like, oh shit. And like, we're all getting ready. We're going to this like fancy dinner at like Nobu or something. And we're waiting for the car. And then me and Anderson will go downstairs. We're like, okay, we're waiting in the car. We're like, where's yeah, is she coming? I have to beep her name out. It'd be hysterical. But so we're like waiting in the car and like we're going to this fancy dinner. We're all dressed up. And you see her like coming down this red carpet holding the handles like this, coming down the staircase. And we're like, oh
no.
shit.
I can
Oh
relate.
no.
I can relate.
She gets in the car. She says, guys, don't be mad at me. I can't go to dinner like this. And I'm like, no, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine.
You'll
We
be fine.
canceled dinner.
Yeah.
Love you. We're friends.
Yeah.
It's okay. No big deal. And she's like, can you bring me to Cedars-Sinai? I need to go to the hospital. It's like, no. I was like, we can't go to the hospital. You're fine. Now you're like, because you will drive what we're
Yeah.
saying about your mental
Yeah,
state.
well,
You're
yeah,
driving
yeah.
yourself to this like not good space. And
it doesn't feel good. Like
No.
I'm sure you
It
were in this
doesn't.
space where you're just like, get me out of this.
Yes.
And
For
so
hours.
these pills right
I
here,
was-
if we take one of those right now, like it's just gonna like mellow me out. I'm not gonna feel like I'm gonna
That's good.
trip out or anything.
No, not at all. I would not do that to you. No,
No, but
it's,
you've
it's,
been-
this
this
is
has been-
CBD dominant, and so this is therapeutically
And it's physician selected.
physician selected. Yeah, and so my business partner, I have two. One, Nathan Talo.
Take one
Okay.
of those.
Talo Gray.
Oh, I love Taylor Gray.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's awesome,
Vanessa's-
and his marketing
man.
team
Oh,
and
she's a
handles the
great
social
company. You
media
want
and
one?
all of our stuff.
I'm okay.
She should not
I'll
take
wait.
that one.
Yeah.
She should
We
take
want
the
one.
No
smaller
night
dose.
night. Yeah.
Come on.
But,
Somebody get with me.
So, and then my other one
No
is
judgment.
Dr. Gemelli. He's a local pain doctor, and he's really the reason for the company because he was in lieu of opioids, he wanted to prescribe his patients something more natural like
There you
CBD.
go.
So he did
Yep.
the research. He started, prescribing it or recommending it in lieu of opioids. And really that's how it came about. And I had so much respect for him because a lot of doctors these days won't even talk to you about it.
They want to put you on like pills.
Yeah.
Yeah, like pharmaceutical drugs. And I feel like that with my doctors when I go to my checkups. It's like they just want to pump you full of something. And I'm
Back
like,
in rebates and insurance companies.
yeah,
are
I'm
a
like, can
hell
I
of a
like, can
thing,
you
right?
please like
Yeah.
give me some better advice? It's not pill driven.
Mm-hmm.
And they won't, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's just what they're trained to do.
That's
like,
right.
I said, well, your kidneys, your liver, like all these things are filtering out this stuff. And I'm like, I'm 43 years old. Like,
Well,
we
this
don't
is
know
why
how
we
old
need to
Monica
get
is. She won't
you
tell me.
out to be able to speak more and more and more
Yes.
because
Advocate this.
Yeah.
and I love you got a master's. You're like one of the first whatever, 15% probably in the nation, I'm sure.
Yeah, we were the first graduating class.
Very cool.
And so I was also making CBD for children with epilepsy.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Seizures.
Yeah, they have seizure disorders. And so there's a story on our website, Physician Selected, of this little girl. She's now, I guess she's 8 now, almost 9, but she was 4 years old when she was having grand mal seizures.
Oh,
and
gosh.
she's been on CBD.
Those are the worst ones, right?
She's been seizure free. Yeah, those are the worst. They last 5 minutes.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's super scary. And her video is incredible if you watch it on our website.
Like a tearjerker, I'm sure, probably.
Yeah, just because like you see the seizure, it's scary in itself. But her parents were determined to take a more natural approach and had a really hard time getting doctors to be on board with it. So they went their own route, and then also finding safe products. That's really what it comes down to.
Naturally
safe.
So what's your thoughts on I know it's happening now on the West Coast probably more, but like with the microdosing with mushrooms for folks that have seizures or anxiety, depression.
Yeah, I don't know about seizures.
But
for
now they're saying
mushrooms,
ketamine, which is what's going on with that? Like, I don't mean.
I can give you a guest that you should bring on for that. But
Okay.
I'll be crawling up the wall
So
like
I
purring
think
like a cat. I'll be like,
I think this week the government's voting on MDMA, whether or not.
Oh, wow.
And I think
Wow.
they
ecstasy, you'll be able to take it legally.
Well, I think it has to be medically
fun.
assisted.
Okay.
Same with the ketamine. Like medically assisted ketamine therapy is legal in some states.
Gosh.
But it's tremendous. It has tremendous results for addiction, for severe trauma, for veterans.
So they have proved that this is really going to work for some
Wow.
people.
Yes.
I'd be a hot mess running
So
around.
they have clinical trials, and actually those drugs are more legal than cannabis. Like even psilocybin mushrooms are
Yep.
more legal than cannabis. But cannabis did get descheduled recently from a Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. It's still not good enough. You know, we're still not happy with it because it's still a controlled substance and it still has legal ramifications. But I think it's progress. And, you know, unfortunately in our U.S. government, it's like.
I want to hop into something a little more fun with Christina because I've known her for a long time.
Well, I do want to
Oh,
answer
no.
your question about
Okay,
Delta
sorry,
8.
okay, go
Did I
ahead, go
answer
ahead.
your question about Delta 8? Are you good with that?
Yes, I
Okay,
am.
okay.
At least
It's just
have
not a
cure.
naturally occurring compound in the plant. I mean, there is Delta 8 in the plant, but not enough of it to produce those products. So a lot of those are synthetically made.
So they're adding fake parts of it that
Yeah, it's just synthetic. So if you
derived
think about,
from the real stuff, but they add a little bonus in there.
and then the chemical process that it takes, they're
Right, the
basically
breakdown.
changing the molecule. And when you do that, it involves, so you have to change the molecule in a first process, CBD, and then it comes from the CBD molecule, and then they change it again. And both of those processes are harsh processes. And if you don't use a cleanup method to pull out the chemicals, that's what's left in the end product. And so I imagine that some of these products
Is the
being sold-
molecular cleaner? The molecular level?
Yeah, you could say. I'm like,
Well, am I saying that right?
Jesse.
Maybe
you
that
little
CBD just
medical
hit me.
man.
Molecular.
Yeah.
Did I say it wrong?
I thought he said molecular cleaner,
It did sound like
but
that.
is it a molecular?
Molecules.
Oh, molecular.
That's what I was
Yeah.
trying to say.
You said it right.
Okay, I just
did.
graduated high school.
You're
sorry.
fine.
No,
You've got
you're-
an
you're-
education.
You're practically
Molecular level. Is it more synthetic molecularly? Is that a word? Okay. Anyway.
It is just synthetic.
See,
We'll leave it at that.
My blonde roots are showing right now. Oh my God.
Yeah, and so really, if you really want to know, it was created because of the hemp farm bill. And so we had so much CBD that was made or grown that the farmers didn't have anything to do with it. And they figured out a loophole in the farm bill, the 2018 farm bill, that allowed them to create these other
Versions.
I would say like psychoactive versions of and products. And so Delta 8 is one of those. And then you got Delta 10, and then
It keeps going.
it's
I'm like, what about
kind of
just pot?
ridiculous,
What about
and
weed?
you're going to see some
Yeah.
changes in that. So I don't judge people for using it
Sure.
because really I think what it shows us is that people want this. If anything, it's like, hey, people are choosing to use cannabis derived products.
Versus.
Let's make it safe for them. And that's really what I wanted to talk to.
Do you use your own products?
I do, but I don't use it right now because I don't
Yeah.
need it.
There you
But,
go.
Yeah.
So when you need it, okay.
There you
yeah.
go.
Yeah, I've actually just like got to this place where like
You're in a happy place. She's got this hot boyfriend. She's like stoked. She's floating on
I
cloud
love
nine.
it.
I'm telling you, when she walked in again, it was like, oh, there she is. She's like looking all hot. And
Oh
happy.
my
and then of
God.
course Jesse was like, he's a tall drink of water.
Yes,
Yeah,
he was.
shocker.
Oh, I can't wait to see him again. I told you he was a good tipper. Really good.
He's
I
very
love a good
handsome.
tipper. I love a good handsome man. But so,
All right, so
all
we're
right,
gonna change to.
really quick. So, talk about the news. Like you seem to make, you're a foodie, you're CBD, you are an incredible dancer. The woman can work a pole like
I
nobody's
love a good
job.
dancer.
And I was going to ask
That's a
you
great
to bring
workout.
the pole so we could do a demo, but the ceiling's too high, and I didn't know if your pole would reach the
I was
ceiling.
just like, I am not dragging that pole stage in here.
Not
It's
of
so
nine
Do you
heavy.
have this in your home?
Yeah, I have.
Yes.
I have
Yes,
3
Monica,
poles,
you should get on.
actually.
3 of them.
Go.
Holy
yeah,
hell.
so one that's like a travel pole, it just needs a 9-foot clearance, and then I have one that's a pole stage that doesn't need a clearance, but it needs a 10-foot
Is
clearance.
it heavy on the bottom?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's the one I used at Edward Teach when they had what was their disco party they had?
Oh, is it just James? Did she do one of
No, it
those
was like
things?
two years ago or so. I forget.
I love a good
disco
pole.
Something. Anyway, I performed there.
Pretty good
They
on
have a
one.
lollipop, which is the lira that goes on top.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I had
You
this.
should see her. The woman can move on a pole like nothing
I
else.
gave Jesse a lap dance once.
She did. We did
Oh.
it. We did a
Penthouse.
New Year's Eve celebration, and we're actually still going to work on that project that we talked about years ago. So, but no, we literally did this like little. What was the theme? It was like
Well, it's
because
like
she has the
Frozen.
whole outfit. She's got the whole thing.
Oh, the gear. The whole
she has
deal.
the gear.
I like
the
that.
feathers. The it's kind of like Great Gatsby, kind of, but not. It's
That's
not
fine.
flapperish.
It's
but
very classy. And
yeah, it's
tasteful.
Yes, of course.
more. It's not like cheesy like Gatsby stuff, but it's like
It's like a tease,
yeah,
like
it's
cabaret.
Yeah,
tease.
it's like take the feather and like
And what were you wearing?
nothing.
Oh, sicko.
Just
I
whatever.
know.
We were in a he was in a trench coat.
I was wearing a
Oh, I
suit.
see it.
I was wearing a
see it.
tuxedo, I think, and a top
were.
hat.
Loose tie there.
Yeah.
I think towards the end of the night.
So I want, first of all, so you guys have just met, and
Yes.
I'd love to do this again. We'd love to possibly come on your podcast at some point. Would be great. 'Cause
sure.
Monica and I this is my new my new co-host, and
Yes.
we're gonna be doing a lot more podcasts together, and we're still getting our feet wet, and this is our 3rd or 4th one.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're moving right along, and we're so glad to have you on. You look so happy, and I'm glad you found your soulmate, if you will. And but yeah, so is there something you'd like to plug, or you want to?
Yeah, I would just go back to the book when you say that. You know,
Yes,
in
so
the
the
book, I
book.
talk about like really, it's not about divorce. I
Can we
think
do a
any-
book signing at some point up here?
We can,
If and when I
yeah.
reopen.
Yeah, and I'd love to give a copy to one of your viewers.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
can
Oh,
think
there
of
you
a,
go.
So if anybody actually watches and listens and wants one of the books, Christina would be glad to give you a handwritten,
an
autographed. book.
signed copy.
Yes.
So just send us a message, and I guess the first message we'll just give them a book.
Get a free book.
Good.
So,
But yeah, I would love to promote it. But really, it's not
The
about
high
divorce.
road of divorce.
Right.
It's about finding myself.
After the divorce.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of people are on that journey right now of just trying to find who they are.
Girl, people can't even stay together 3 years. You know the average divorce rate is 3
I
years.
don't even want to know
It's
that.
crazy. It
well,
really
I
is.
think that if you do the work and you find yourself, right? Like I got to this place where like I didn't need anybody. Like I was good with myself.
A lot of sex. I think that's the key to any relationship.
Yeah.
Jesse.
Just screw all the time.
Such a man thing to
I
say.
know, I know,
It is,
I know,
isn't
I know,
it?
I do that.
Regardless of what you go after.
Hey, I
We
dabble in
support
all
you.
ponds every now and again.
That's fine.
But no, that's it. Just
I'm
you
really
know.
proud of you, though. I am.
Yeah, it's a big
thank
deal.
you.
She's doing the pod. You know, you've got the podcast. You're on the news. You have the food
Have two
thing.
TV shows.
Yes, she's got the TV. Tell us about those a little bit.
Yeah, one is my favorite one's the Culinary Way, where I just get
So
to cook
cute,
with
yes.
local chefs.
Very cool.
And I'm thinking about doing a spin-off of my own and just doing my own Instagram and making drinks.
You should.
So like mocktails and cocktails.
Such a big thing
and
now, the
cannabis
mocktails.
infused drinks.
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah.
I want to get high and drunk at the
Spirits
same
are like
time.
the new thing. Did you know that? Cannabis spirits are the new thing.
So high seltzer. That's Anthony Police.
Well,
has
no,
been
they
doing it.
have like vodka and
Yes.
tequila.
High
made
noons?
with cannabis.
Oh God.
No.
Weed
So
sodas.
we've
No, it's-
got some mutual friends that they're angry drunks. And so we were like at a wedding and they apparently had those infused alcoholic drinks. And I'm telling
There's
you.
no alcohol. Yeah, they're just infused with cannabis, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. It is like a game
And
changer.
they were
you
like
only
the
need one.
nicest people ever. I'm like, why didn't you have this 10 years ago? You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, they have like the infused drinks, like the seltzers and
Yes.
different, but I'm talking like they have alcohol
Just-
now.
Yep.
But it's not alcohol. It's like it tastes like tequila, but it's not tequila.
It's called NA, right? Is that what it's called?
Oh, it's called
Is it tequila? Sorry, I had the hiccups all day.
Zero Proof.
Zero.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Yep.
And they have a CBD one now. It's available at the greenhouse.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah, so she has
Well,
one
let's-
drink.
We need to go to the greenhouse.
go to the greenhouse.
We do.
It's such a pretty restaurant.
What's the lady? You're friends with the lady?
Anastasia, yeah.
Anastasia.
Yeah.
What a pretty name. Every time I hear that name, I'm like, oh.
And I forget her. There's two ladies that own it, and I forget her partner's name. So sorry.
It's okay.
Melanie
right,
or
well-
Linda.
Well, back to the
We
book.
got to get the
Get on the book.
Yes.
The High Road to Divorce. It's the after party of divorces.
after party. I like that. Self-build, rebuild.
Get your
Well, so
shit
I launched
together.
it on Valentine's Day
Brilliant.
because it's really about self-love. So like loving yourself, and chapter 7's the High Road Toolkit. So I give you all the tools to find
You've got to
yourself.
love yourself before you love anyone else.
This is fair.
It's very true. Love yourself, and I always say, you'll find love later.
Yeah,
Love yourself
that's
first.
big.
People-
Well, I
Words of
always say, like,
wisdom.
two whole people, one and one make one, whole. So you can't be like a half a person and a half a person
right.
and then come together and that work.
It's like almost like to the point where you cannot fully give love to someone unless you do love yourself first.
Right.
It's like, how can you half-ass it? Because then you're taking a part of you that's not like completed.
Yeah, it's true.
And
When
we
the-
all love ourselves.
So before we end
We
this
do.
episode, what's next for Christina Dees? What's going on? What's the next thing?
Well, I really want to do some speaking engagements around the book, and helping.
I would love to
other
host one of the
people.
book signings for sure.
Yeah, let's do it. I would really love to do that and just be more of a voice, because everyone that reads it, always, especially women,
She's so kind.
I know.
they
You've got a
say
good
like,
soul.
the world needs to hear this, the message, because it is about being peaceful, and it could be, we all have relationships with our employers, with our family, with our friends, and it's really how to navigate conflict with anyone. It's not just divorce.
True.
Yeah, and as hard as it may be, like choosing the high road isn't an easy feat.
Amen to that, sister.
Ooh, bless it.
But you learn a lot about yourself in the process, and it was worth it. And then, so now I'm here. So I'd love to do some speaking engagements. My dream is to do a TED Talk.
Yes, I could see you
Yes.
doing one of those.
Yeah.
100%.
I'll be in the front row.
Right?
Me and Monica.
I might be backstage, like watching her from the side, just because I'll be like the cheerleader.
I could see
Oh,
you now.
that would
You'll
be
my
awesome.
publicist.
Travel like the fish.
Travel
Hello.
like the
Could
fish.
travel with the fish.
I know. It'd be good.
I'm going to travel with the fish.
We're going to real soon.
And then we'll see what else comes about. I've got a few things in the works with maybe doing my own thing. Like I told you, with drinks with Christina.
I love it.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. And then
I love that you're mixing it up with non-alcohol, because there's such a big following of people that really just want to go out and have a good time and not feel like they have to get drunk. I always reference Caroline Stansberry and her podcast, because she's all about like, look, I'm not gonna give up drinking. I'm not gonna just. I'm not in a program. I'm not like trying to get help. I just don't want the brain fog anymore. I don't like the way it makes me feel.
I got respect.
And
for
we
that.
have so much going on between the four of us, including Zach. I mean, we have so much going on that in the morning when I wake up, I have so much anxiety, because I'm like, holy shit, I have 76 text messages. I can't even keep up anymore. And it's like, and then if you're hungover, if you're sober, you wake up, I take a deep breath. I leave my phone in the kitchen now. I don't even put it beside my bed, because it's the last thing I want to do is wake
Yeah.
up or just look at my phone and start scrolling and see some bad news or some shit that's going to piss me off and start the whole day off on a bad note.
That's
So
right.
I get up, I put my feet on the floor, I do a little namaste, brush my teeth, walk the dog, and then I look at the phone.
that's great.
And it starts my day off. Sometimes, yes, if we have to get up early, we obviously have to have the phone beside our head, because there's something majorly important. But for the most part, I think for a healthy lifestyle, for me, not just speaking for myself, is that I need that phone. We're all very busy people, and we know a lot of people, and we have all these little projects going on all over the place.
Fair.
Because I don't think none of us could actually survive just having one thing going on.
No. Good
you
Lord.
there's no way in hell if we need to have all these coals in the fire.
Yep.
And if we don't, we feel like, oh God, it's like, but then we overload ourselves. But then that's where you take these little CBD pills. I think
love
it's kicking
that.
in.
Thank
you, Christina.
Yeah. Well, fun fact, I used to be the person who did all the things and 20 million things going on, and I can do it, and I can do that, and I can do this. And I loved it.
It's like
I thrived
half-assing
on it.
everything, though. At
Yeah.
some
Like
point.
Christina 2.0, she's going to do
Ooh,
one thing.
2.0.
2.0.
2.0.
She's doing one thing, and she's going to do it.
She's got this.
Knock
and
it out of the park.
She
I
got that
love it.
hot man in California. Please, girl.
I know.
Go
I love
Dag.
you so much.
That's right.
Oh, I love you too.
All right, guys. Thank you so
Thank
much. And
you.
please listen, tune in, follow the Penthouse podcast, and we'll see you next time.